Ask questions to hit it off. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. What's she up to now? Day 1616, documenting the journey, mostly the business journey, as I've transitioned from the brick and mortar corporate world of businesses to the online world of businesses. And with COVID and the pandemic, I've decided that I'm going to be both offline and online simultaneously, kind of like I was in corporate America and running my own businesses on the side throughout my entire corporate career. So over a quarter century in corporate America, while simultaneously building, growing, and supersizing different businesses in different industries, different businesses, different business types, different types of ownership, different levels of participation, etc. Because I was spending the first quarter century of my life, not my life, but my business life, wanting to really understand all the different things that business had to offer. And then, of course, the internet came into play, and I was busy in the offline world, and I was kind of half paying attention to the internet, but not really. So following my divorce in 2017, I came online and started to learn things about the online world, and learned that some things are similar, very similar. Business is business in a lot of ways, but business on the internet is different than business offline. Number one, it's got a much lower barrier to entry. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get distracted because there are so many things coming at us all the time. We have to pick a path that's right for us and find that path that's right for us, and then take action on it. And as other things become necessary to what we're trying to accomplish online, we can add them. Otherwise, if you're like me, you come on and you just get boop, 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 boop. I think it's because I came online without having a plan and a strategy of what I wanted to do. First, I just wanted to learn and see what was possible and what you could do online. And so I followed lots of different paths, lots of different shiny object syndrome, they call it online, and had FOMO, fear of missing out. I was afraid I was going to miss something that I needed to know or wanted to learn online. So I did follow a lot of different paths and tried a lot of different things online. Some were really, really fun and exciting and successful. Others were epic failures. Like I spent, I think, 8 or 9 months creating my first course and didn't sell any of it. I spent I don't know, a couple of months doing webinars and creating different webinars only to have no one listen. Well, then I would tweak and test and improve it, and then finally hit it right and was talking to the right people, and then it became successful. But a lot of things that we do, just like in the offline world, the first thing we try or do doesn't work 100%. We don't just quit and throw in the towel and give up. We figure out, okay, what works, what doesn't work. What are we missing? What do we need to do differently? And so I like to share in this segment business things, as well as what I'm doing online, what I'm doing to create content online. Content's kind of my jam. Challenges are, I love doing challenges. We're doing our 5th annual challenge now, and this one is called the BU 365 Day Challenge, to do one thing every day that improves us. And we're breaking it down according to a life framework that I've used for decades, and this month we're focusing on relationships. So for the challenge today, our topic was relationship questions. And there are no shortage of questions in the world. If you can't think of your own questions to ask based on what you really want to know about another person, no matter what type of relationship it is, there are lots of prompts. I'm sure there's books on it. There's tons of websites, probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of websites that generate questions. It's like if you're going for an interview and you need to know, well, what are some of the questions so I can prepare and be ready and have answers in my mind, in the back of my mind, because I've experienced the questions when I go into this interview. My nephew just graduated from college and is interviewing, and I'm like, well, have you done any practice interviews or practice questions? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, that's the first thing you should do, is read some lists of questions. And I used to sit, back in my corporate days, I would sit and go through a bunch of questions, and I would write out the answers. And I wouldn't stick with that, but just the practice of thinking about and writing out the answer helped me to perform better in interviews, or to do better and be more authentic and be more myself, and be more comfortable with the answers to the questions, because I wasn't totally, surprised by any question that was asked in interviews. And that helped me when I went on to hire people in corporate America. I literally hired thousands of people in corporate America when I was in my corporate America days, as well as thousands of people for my own organization. So interviewing became really, really quick and easy for me. And it was easy to, after doing lots and lots of interviews, to figure out what do I need to really know about this person to determine if they're going to be excuse me, if they're going to be a fit for this particular role and for this organization. I think over my years in corporate America and in my years of running different businesses and working with different business owners, one of the biggest reasons people don't do well in a particular organization is they're not a good fit for that organization. How do I know? Because that happened to me. I took jobs and roles in organizations that initially I thought it was a good fit. But then over time, as I really learned about the culture and what was rewarded and what was success in that organization, I realized, yeah, this doesn't work for me. This isn't a fit for me. Never a bad thing, just it wasn't where I wanted to go with my career and with my personal development and my business experiences. So what does that mean? Then you leave. At some point, you're like, okay, this isn't working. I've done what I can do here. I'm going to move on. Cloggy throat this morning. Sorry. So today we talked about what are questions that you can ask when you want to get to know somebody. And our action item was to say, if you can only ask somebody one question, what is the one question you're going to ask them to determine if you want to go further with the relationship or not? My question was, what do you really, really want? I ask that question to people a lot. Well, what do you want? What do you really want? Well, what do you really, really want? Why do you want that? If you ask somebody what they want, that's really easily, number one, you're finding out what's important to them and finding out if there's common ground. And you can always ask more follow-up questions based on what they answer, right? What if they say they don't know what they want? Well, that opens it up to helping and getting to know them better and helping them to get to know themselves better in terms of identifying and really figuring out what they want versus what they don't want. So that was my question, that's my question that I ask people. It used to be when I was a little girl, it was, are you friendly? My mom said from the time I could talk on, whenever a new person came around, the first thing I would ask them is, are you friendly? And I said it in a funny little toddler way, but she likes to tell that story, but it's very true. That's kind of been my approach to people in life. If you're not friendly, if you're not trying to make a positive difference in the world, please do not waste your time and mine, because we're not going to get along. I will not do anything to get in your way or interfere, but I don't want to have to tolerate you either. We talked about tolerance as one of our topics for the challenge 2 this month. So relationships, great topic. Relationships, our life is all about relationships, right? We come here to planet Earth for the experiences that we have and the lessons that we can learn. And the vast majority of those involve relationships. Our idiom for Supersize Your Business for female entrepreneurs today was to hit it off. This is a fun idiom, and I just shared 9 different ways we can build rapport in order to make hitting it off faster and easier as we're meeting new people, especially with respect to building and growing and supersizing our business. Because we need to find the people that we hit it off with so that we can grow and build our business faster. And that applies to all different types of relationships with respect to our business. So that is what I'm working on. My daughter and son-in-law are back, so they are back in charge of the granddaughter. I had a blast with her. I absolutely love spending time with my granddaughters. As energizing as it is, it's also so draining and so tiring because she's just like a little bundle of energy, just like her cousin, my son's daughter. She's 7 now. I spent the first few years of her life with her as well until she went to school, and especially during COVID and things, because there wasn't school and she couldn't go to daycare. And then she started kindergarten, and they did go to school, but they wore the little masks and stuff. And so I think it's really going to be interesting to see long term the impact of this stuff, and I call it stuff with respect to COVID, on all of us, on us adults, but especially on the children, because there's no way that these kids are not and have not been impacted by that experience. I mean, we have as adults, so kids, I think it's just been exponential, the impact that it's had on them. So we need to make sure that we are making up for that in how we treat them and how we help them to become the best versions of themselves that they absolutely possibly can. All right, any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.